You know, my journey over the last 20 years of music has definitely had some incredible experiences, lots of ups and downs along the way. Obviously, signing a record deal at such a young age and then jumping straight into touring and having success. But I think the reason I was able to handle that lifestyle was because of my upbringing in rodeo. Having traveled the country and the world with my parents, I knew what it was like to be gone. I knew what it was like to somewhat be in front of the limelight because my dad was a PBR bull rider. Both my parents were very well known in the rodeo industry, so I got to experience what that was like. Now, trying to stay level-headed at 16 is definitely always going to be a challenge, but I tried my hardest to be really thankful for the blessings God had given me and the opportunities that I had. I signed a record deal at 20 years old and packed up my world and moved to the US. So at 20 years old, my band and I moved to the US. We moved to Nashville. I signed a record deal. We had 1 week to settle in, and then we hit the road for 3 months doing radio tour. Now, my single was doing great. It was getting added by lots of stations. Like the sky was the limit. But I still remember getting that phone call telling me that my record label had shut down in the middle of my single being released. Obviously, talk about a punch in the guts. Yeah, it was very unexpected. I was obviously not able to go and pursue a new record deal at the time because I was still signed to my same label. So I had to decide what I wanted to do, whether I wanted to move home to Australia, whether I want to stay in Nashville and songwrite, but I was going to have to figure out how to pay my bills. So that is actually when I started SHEA Michelle Buckles. I would cold call rodeo associations sitting at Panera Bread. For every 100 I called, one might say yes to want to see our belt buckles. And I look at that as obviously I made a whopping $30,000 the first year, which was enough to pay my rent and my food to live. Obviously, for 15 years, I had been defined by being a singer and music. That was what people knew me as. So I had almost lost my identity. I went to Texas. I stayed with some family friends. I did some modeling for Cruel Girl and some other brands at the time, just until I could figure out what life looked like. That's where I met Tyson in Houston that year. I think it was 2011. I met him in hospitality at Houston Rodeo. And obviously I was not wanting to get married, and he was the nice guy. So it took like a year for me to give my phone number. I definitely treated him not super kind. Thankfully, he stuck around. So when I finally decided to go on a date with Tyson, I knew he was the marrying type. Obviously us girls, we date the bad boys and then we marry the good guys. So that was kind of where I was at. But then I moved to Texas. I'm not going to lie, I was bitter on the music scene. I couldn't watch the CMT Awards because I was watching all of my friends from Nashville that I used to songwrite with becoming hit singers. And I knew that I felt like I was given an unfair kick in the industry. So I really struggled. It was like 2 years I didn't even pick up my guitar. But I just knew once I ended up figuring out that I was not defined by success. Success didn't come from #1 songs at radio. At a young age, that's what I was taught success was. Success came from being a good person. Once I figured out who I was then able to start to love music again and know that I wasn't done with the industry. So then life had lots of commitments. To me, at the time, I realized I still loved music and wanted to get back into it. I was having a family and being a mom, being Tyson's wife, helping him pursue his goals and dreams while building businesses of my own. So I went from singer to mom to entrepreneur businesswoman to barrel racer. And then I knew I still needed to get back into music. I had written amazing songs with Walker Hayes and Grammy Award winner Jessie Joe Dillon. And these songs had just sat there. And I knew that there was messages that I wanted to show people. And I wanted to show people that it doesn't matter. You're never too young, too old to pursue your dreams. If the road seems hard, well, get going. I'm at a point now that I don't have any expectations. If it works, that's great. If it doesn't, I had fun trying. So for the first time in my life, I can do things the way I want to do, not how I'm told by a record label. So I'm excited, y'all. So that being said, I just want to encourage you, if you have a dream and a goal in life, and you think you may be too young or too old to pursue it, or not have enough money, or not have enough contacts, you know what? You got to start somewhere. Don't be afraid to fail, because that is going to hold you back. I would rather fail and say I tried than look back one day and say, man, if only I had have tried. So don't let failure stop you from achieving your dreams and goals, and don't let other people's opinions define you. That's a big one for me. I try to block out everybody's opinions because their opinion doesn't matter. If you believe in yourself and you believe you can do it, that is the first step to success.